Obviously, at the RNC, I think people, and I hope people, have noticed that we made some changes, have heard from us in our messaging talk about the way we're going to attack this election differently this go-round. We cannot continue as a party to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. It is the definition of insanity. And so if we not just want to compete with Democrats, but if we want to beat Democrats, we have to play the game differently. We cannot all wait until Election Day to go vote. We need to get people voting early. Any way you can vote and as early as you can vote, we need you to go out and vote, and then you focus from that moment all the way up until Election Day. Every single day, take somebody to vote with you. We have to embrace things like legal ballot harvesting all across this country. We're also bringing people in who I don't feel like thought they had a real safe home at the RNC, like our grassroots partners. For example, anybody ever heard of a guy named Scott Pressler? Okay, let me tell you very quickly. Scott Pressler has single-handedly registered more voters for the Republican Party in this country than any other human being alive today, no doubt about it. And he's amazing. And for whatever reason, he was never embraced by the RNC. But now we are embracing him. We are embracing every organization like his who has the same goal of winning come November 5th. So you've seen a big change. I think that change has been noticed. And I think people also, despite the abysmal Biden economy, understand what is truly at stake in this election. And they're showing that by donating to our campaign and to the RNC. If the communist tactics right now being leveled against Donald Trump are successful, make no mistake about it, we will not have the same country left on the other side of this. People understand that they need to take this country back, that we, the people, are in charge of this country, not the politicians in Washington, D.C. We want a president who is going to give us our freedoms back, give us our country back, give us back our energy independence, allow us to keep the money that we earn, not send our money overseas, keep it here in America, put this country first, close down our border, and save the United States. And I think that's why they're donating.
Since joining the RNC, you've made it election integrity a big thing.
Huge.
And here in California, it's huge. Jessica and her team have done a fabulous job of doing things. Let's give Jessica a round of applause for everything we've done in election integrity. To give our audience context, we'll soon have 4 election integrity staff members here in California. Our election integrity team, so far this cycle, has recruited 4,200 volunteers for poll observing and poll workers and hosted over 100 election integrity training sessions. During our recent primary, we received nearly 180 issue reports that we handled every one of them on Election Day or early voting. So in that context, the big picture out there, what can we expect to see from the RNC in election integrity more this year?
Well, it is our #1 focus at the RNC right now, election integrity. We have 2 jobs at the RNC: get out the vote and protect the ballot. Those are the 2 initiatives. Our candidate, Donald J. Trump, gets people out to vote. He inspires like no other candidate in the history of this country. So it is our job at the RNC to ensure that when those votes come in for him, they are protected, and that no erroneous votes, no votes from people who shouldn't legally be voting in our elections are counted. So we have right now at the RNC, if you come to our offices, the bulk of the staff you will see in our building is focused solely on election integrity, because let's be honest, we can never repeat 2020 ever again. We're never going to do that. And we need to ensure free, fair, and transparent elections in the United States of America. It is integral to who we are as a country and to the future of this country. So we have a huge election integrity division. Our goal, Michael Whatley and I, the chairman, released that we have a goal by November 5th to have 100,000 volunteers on our election integrity team, and we intend to meet that goal. ProtectTheVote.com, by the way, if anybody would like to join us, sign up to be not just a poll watcher. We have a unique opportunity this year that we haven't had in 4 decades to train poll workers. These are people who actually work in the polling locations from the RNC. For 40 years, there was a consent decree on the RNC, and it did not allow us to train poll workers. Now imagine that. The RNC couldn't train, but guess who could train? The DNC. Think about 40 years of that happening. So here we are in 2024, and last year the judge who made this ruling passed away, the consent decree was lifted, and now we can train people to work in these polling locations. That is huge. Not only are they in the polling locations, they're in the tabulation centers where the mail-in ballots come in. That gives us such an advantage in terms of ensuring election integrity. We are also planning to have in every major polling location across this country attorneys rotating on a regular basis so that they aren't waiting weeks on end to address a problem. As you just pointed out, when there was a problem, you attacked it. We need people there starting the first day early voting starts all the way up to election day to ensure that if there is a problem, if there's anything they see that looks funny, nefarious, problematic in any way, they can strike at a moment's notice and they can deal with it in that moment. And exactly, it's huge. We are pulling out all the stops, and we are so laser focused on election integrity. Right now, we have 85 lawsuits all across the United States of America, and I think 23 different states right now. And we are trying to ensure that it's harder to cheat and easier to vote for every single American. We just had a big lawsuit that we won in Pennsylvania. The Democrats, of course, in an effort to make it easier to cheat, were trying to take dates off of mail-in ballots. We pushed back on that. We won. And now we can apply that precedent across the entire country so that everywhere we have mail-in ballots come in the United States, we have the dating on them. That is a huge win. So you're going to hear a lot more of that. Terrific. We're going to do everything we possibly can because, again, nothing is more important than ensuring transparency and fairness in our election process here in America.
California might not be the biggest state in the presidential race this year. I mean, like your state of New York there. But we are the #1 battleground for the House, as you sat next to Michelle Steele at dinner. How does down-ballot races factor into the RNC strategy this year in the presidential race, and how big of a priority is it for you?
Huge priority. First of all, you said something, but I'm gonna push back on you a little bit. Do you know there are more registered Republicans in the state of California than any state in the United States of America? Okay?
So we're going to rock the world on November 5th and win California. Yeah.
And we sell the most campaign merchandise and raise the most money from the state of California. So thank you. The down-ballot races are huge. And obviously, it's great if we get our guy Donald Trump at the top, and we are making sure that that is going to happen. But in order for him to be an effective president and to do things that are not just going to be via executive order and to make long-term lasting change, like 1 day of voting, paper ballots, and voter ID all across this country, which we can get back to, we have to expand our lead in the House, and we have to focus on these very tight races, and we have them all over the country, but certainly here in the great state of California. So we're very focused on that, and anywhere that we know a little extra assistance is needed, that's where we come in as the RNC. That's where we can be useful. That's where all the big fundraising numbers that we are posting up will come in the clutch, and we intend to be there for everybody as needed.